Hello everybody, welcome back down into the den. Wish it was under better circumstances, because Bruins lose their Bruins lose their season opener 6-4 against the reigning Stanley Cup champion and Florida Panthers. Welcome back down into the den, everybody. You might notice that I am recording this in my room. Yeah, since I'm not at school anymore, I am relegated to doing this within the confines of my room, which means I actually have to pay attention to how loud I am. Wonderful. In any case, Bruins game sucked to start. All right. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Of the bottom nine, everything below the top line of Zacha, Lindholm, Pasternak, which itself wasn't great, but it wasn't as terrible as everything on the bottom nine. Oh my god, the bottom nine, terrible. Oh, the Panthers were just absolutely eating everything that the Bruins were giving to them for lunch. And the defense could not move anybody out of the way. And I know people are gonna see the score and see see how many goals Korpisalo let up in the first period and immediately jump down his throat. And for what it's worth, there were some goals that Korpisalo needed to have, like the third goal, whichever one that Sam Bennett scored, the two that Sam Bennett scored, he needed to have. There's no justifiable reason to leave that one on the table. Well, which means that the two that he should have had back translates to this should have been a 4-4 game. We should be in overtime. I shouldn't be making this video yet, and the Bruins could potentially win it. But honestly, this is about exactly what I expected. And the Bruins' bottom nine is a mess. This first period played awful, terrible. Nikita Zadorov was not anything to write home about. Elias Lindholm, though. Elias Lindholm was pretty good. Max Jones, the $2 million man we keep on the fourth line for. Actually, I think on the third line. God damn. The third line. Oh my god. The third line sucked. The third line. Jones, Frederick, Brageau. Now, I talked to Van Allen Clark in the Short Shift Podcast Discord a decent amount. He knows his shit. Van Allen Clark knows his shit. And he made a really good point when asked about why Bruins fans have such a hard on for Brageau. He's big, and he scores goals. But he moves slower than molasses. But then again, I live in Boston, and we are famous for having that one molasses flood. In any case, Brageau is slow as hell. He's so slow, and he does not belong on a line that is meant to generate momentum. You put him on the fourth line. And keep him net front on the second power play unit. He has a good shot. But at the same time, I don't understand why this team is so hell bent on making it work with a player who didn't have any sort of breakout until he was 26 years old. And honestly, truly, the thing that killed us was the lack of speed. And this comes to a big problem that I have with the Bruins' current management. Bruins management right now is so averse to even considering the concept of growing pains. I will say the way that the Bruins treated Lorei and Beecher last year was perfect. They got their chances. Lorei got his chance because half our defense was injured. Beecher got his chance just simply making the team out of camp. And they both got sent down to Providence multiple times throughout the season to work through those growing pains. I don't see why you need to throw Fabian Lysell and Georgi Merkulov, both of whom have shown very much in the past, not just in the past couple of years, but throughout this entire throughout the entire preseason, that they belong on this roster. I don't see why you throw them back down to Providence. It's like we're trying to get another Jack Studnicka situation where he earned his keep, and and management still sent him down to Providence, completely shot his confidence. He never and he was never the same player. It's so unbelievably frustrating. Now honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised that this game was even played, considering the absolute travesty that Hurricanes Helene and Milton have left in their wake. It's a shock that this game was even played at all, and and eventually at some point during the season I will I'll throw down a GoFundMe in the description to make sure that the people who have been affected by it see some sort of reprieve. In any case, it's a miracle that this game was even played in Florida at all. Well, let alone had enough people there to essentially pack the house until the third period. The third period, I will say, the Bruins started playing a little bit better. And I will, and hell, it resulted in us getting 2 back, and of course it was too little too late, but the Bruins were not going to give up on this game, and this is something that I'm a little bit intrigued by with this team. If this team, now, we joke constantly about the Ford F-150 Final 5. We joke constantly about this little bugger. About how the Bruins, as soon as they hit the 55-minute mark of game time, they're like, warm up the buses, call your parents, and tell them to get here to pick you up. We ain't gonna play anymore. And the Bruins actually turned it around in the last 5 minutes. Is this a new leaf? I don't know. I don't personally think so. I need to see more evidence of it, but I would absolutely love it if this was the case. Yes. But the Bruins, I think I was, what is it? I'm pretty sure I was talking about Korpisalo at some point and how it wasn't entirely his fault. It wasn't. Because for as bad as the Bruins' bottom 9 was, the defense, oh my god, the defense was terrible. The defense was awful. There were 2 in particular that were really pissing me off. Nikita Zadorov, who did not have a very good showing in in his introductory game to the Bruins, and Brandon Carlo, who had without a doubt the worst game I think I've ever seen him have as a Bruin. It was terrible. Blown coverages, couldn't fish the puck out to save his life. He was not great. That being said, the Panthers played like assholes. Sam Bennett immediately after the Evan Rodriguez goal, just runs right into Korpisalo. I'm surprised that he didn't get more than what he ended up getting, considering his past. There were plenty of penalties that the Bruins got because the refs really sucked in this game. That should have been offsetting because with Florida also roughing. There was one moment where Trent Frederick and Matthew Tkachuk are jawing at each other, and Frederick clearly wants to go with him, and Tkachuk wants to go with him too, and then he pulls the Ross Rea in Goon. He doesn't drop the gloves, and as a result, Freddie gets sent for unsportsmanlike. And people will say, "Oh, that's a stupid move by Freddie." Maybe consider it's a bitch move from Matthew Tkachuk. Look, maybe, just maybe, Trent Frederick was actually in the right there, and Matthew Tkachuk was just not at all playing ball when he probably should have. I think of all the forwards, Zacha probably had the best game. Followed up pretty closely by Frederick. I still think that Trent Frederick should be our second line right wing, and Geeky should be nowhere near the second line. I don't see how this helps anybody. Now, Cole Koepke played in his first NHL game, if I'm not mistaken, in this one. He was largely invisible the entire game. It was hard to determine whether he was really an asset or a liability to the team. I don't care. Honestly, I couldn't care less about Cole Koepke. But the Bruins, they stumble out of the gate, which I'm not surprised by, especially considering they were playing the Panthers. But for all the negativity in this game, there were a few positive portions, and you kind of got to take the good with the bad. It's all how that work. It's all how it works in this hurricane of emotions. But that is going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm so happy to be back making videos for y'all. I'll see you guys in the next one on Thursday. Take care.